Welcome to English Mirror's question paper analysis. Let's begin. Which narrative poem by Lord Tennyson presents the story of a fisherman turned merchant sailor who, after a shipwreck, is marooned on a desert island? Answer is option 3. Enoch Arden. In memorial verses, Matthew Arnold pays tribute to three great poets. Who are they? Answer is option 4. Goethe, Wordsworth, Byron. Who among the following English playwrights wrote screenplays or novels such as Marshall Prowse, In Search of Lost Time, John Fowles' French Lieutenant's Woman, and Margaret Atwood's Handmaid's Tale? Answer is option 3. Harold Pinter. The years in English literary history between 1649 and 1660 are known as, answer is option 2, the Commonwealth period. In R.K. Narayan's Swami and Friends, which game offers Swami the best kind of emotional release from the strains and pressures of disagreeable circumstances? Answer is option 1, cricket. William Blake expressed the importance of the particular when he said that to generalize is to be dash. To particularize is the alone distinction of merit. Fill in the blank. Answer is option 1, an idiot. Which of the following was not a dialect of Old English? Answer is option 1, Irish. Anthony Burgess' last novel, published in 1993, is called A Dead Man in Deptford. Who is the central character to whom the title refers? Answer is option 3, Christopher Marlowe. Choose the correct chronological order. Answer is option 3, William Caxton prints the first English book, Tottel's Miscellany, Songs and Sonnets, William Shakespeare's first folio, John Milton's Areopagitica. What does the phrase "at pictura poesis" from Horace's Art of Poetry mean? Answer is option 1, as in painting, so in poetry. Who among the following is the author of Account of the Augustan Age in England, published in 1759? Answer is option 3, Oliver Goldsmith. In how many parts did Cervantes publish his novel Don Quixote? Answer is option 3, 2. Lytton Strachey's Eminent Victorians carries biographical sketches of writers and public figures. Identify the list below that correctly mentions those eminent Victorians. Answer is option 1, Cardinal Manning, Florence Nightingale, Thomas Arnold, and General Gordon. One of the following statements about the eponymous saint of Dryden's song for Saint Cecilia's Day is incorrect. Identify that statement. Answer is option 2. Saint Cecilia was an Armenian devotee of the Christian faith. Which of the statements on Michael Roberts' Faber Book of Modern Verse, published in 1936, is not true? Answer is option 2. The collection begins with the poems of Robert Bridges. Who among the following proposed that the First Gulf War had never taken place? It was simply a hyperreal, media-generated spectacle. Answer is option 3, Jean Baudrillard. Sir Thomas Browne's urn burial was prompted by? Answer is option 1, the discovery of ancient burial urns near Norwich. Identify from among the following list those that cannot be called war fiction. Answer is option 3. That means A and C. A is A Modern Instance. C is The Age of Innocence. Who among the following writers was not the one identified with the movement of the 1950s England? Answer is option 1, Roy Fuller. Which of the following novels does not belong to Nuruddin Farah's Blood in the Sun trilogy? Answer is option 2, Notes. In the following series, which one has all the poets correctly matched with the poems? Answer is option 4, Ezekiel, Poet Lover Birdwatcher, Ramanujan, Small Scale Reflections on a Great House, Death, Our Kesurina Tree, Mahapatra, Sunset at Puri. From among the following, identify the incorrect observation regarding Ferdinand de Saussure's seminal distinction between langue and parole. Answer is option 1. Parole is the particular language system, the elements of which we learn as children and which is codified in our grammars and dictionaries, whereas langue is the language occasion, what A says to B. John Haywood wrote a farcical interlude called The Four Ps. Who were the four Ps? Answer is option 4. A farmer, a pardoner, a apothecary, a peddler. In the mechanical drill method of second language acquisition, A. The learner has the freedom to choose from many responses. B. The learner's response is totally controlled. C. Comprehension of the item by the learner is not required. D. Comprehension of the item by the learner is obligatory. The right combination according to the code is, answer is option 3, B and C. The very last passage of a novel is given below. Identify the novel. Welcome, O life. I go to encounter, for the millionth time, the reality of experience, and forge in the smithy of my soul the uncreated conscience of my race. April 27th. Old father, old artificer, stand me now and ever in good stead. Answer is option 2, a portrait of the artist as a young man. Francis Bacon's New Atlantis is about a utopian state called, answer is option 3, Ben Salem. The 1950s saw the rise of backlash against modernism and against New Romanticism that became known as the movement. Which of the following little magazines came to be associated with the movement? A. Departure, B. New Verse, C. Lenten Mercury, D. New Poems. The right combination according to the code is, answer is option 3, A and D. The error of interpreting a literary work by referring to evidence outside of itself, such as the design and purpose of the author, is called, answer is option 2, intentional fallacy. Fanny Burney's Evelina carries the subtitle, answer is option 2, or a young lady's entrance into the world. What does Philip Sidney call poet haters in his defense of poesy? Answer is option 4, Maiso Mosau. Who among the following raises the following painful question of longing and belonging? Where shall I turn, divided to the wane? I who have cursed the drunken officer of British rule, how choose between this Africa and the English tongue I love? Answer is option 1, Derek Walcott. In the 1940s, a critic and a philosopher produced two influential and controversial papers called The Intentional Fallacy and The Affective Fallacy. Identify them. A. Cleant Brooks, B. Monroe C. Beardsley, C. William K. Wimsatt Jr., D. R.P. Blackmore. The right combination according to the code is, answer is option 3, B and C. Philip Larkin's Sad Steps notices the way the moon dashes through clouds that blow loosely as cannon smoke to stand apart. The poem alludes to, answer is option 3, Philip Sidney's Astrophil and Stella. Identify the titles that were published in the 1920s. A. Look Stranger, B. The Tower, C. The Wasteland, D. The Road to Wiggenpire. Code, answer is option 2, B and C. This novel is dedicated to the Railroad of Bones and has as its epigraph the line, "I'm the woman they give dead woman's clothes to from Christine Gilligneau's inheritance." Identify the novel. Answer is option 4. The Book of Night Women by Marlon James. An English poet couldn't help the excitement that an historical event caused in his lifetime. Bliss was it in that dawn to be alive, but to be young was very heaven. Which poet and what dawn? Answer is option 3. William Wordsworth, The French Revolution. Which novel by John Banville tells the story of a group of travelers who arrive on a small island and stumble upon the house of Professor Krusner, whose relationship to a painting entitled The Golden World by a fictional Dutch artist named Vaublin plays a central role? Answer is option 1. Goes. Identify the two plays usually paired for their critique of the politics of language and acts of police interrogation. Answer is option 4. One for the Road, Mountain Language. Semiotics originated mainly in the works of two theorists. They are A. Charles Peirce, Mikhail Bakhtin, Ferdinand de Saussure, Valentin Voloshinov. The right combination according to the core is, answer is option 3, A and C. Robert Burton's Anatomy of Melancholy was published in 1621 and expanded and altered in dash subsequent editions. Answer is option 4, 5. Which of the following magazines self-consciously created an identity for Vortices, a group of painters, sculptors, and writers? Answer is option 1, Blast. In every cry of every man, in every infant's cry of fear, in every voice, in every van, the figure of speech characterized by repetition of words or group of words at the beginning of consecutive sentences is called, answer is option 2, anaphora. In which city did John Ruskin see a paradigm for Victorian Britain? Answer is option 2, Venice. Which novel of Kazuo Ishiguro is narrated by a Japanese widow living in England and draws on the destruction and rehabilitation of Nagasaki? Answer is option 3, A Pale View of Hills. Which novel opens thus? Whether I shall turn out to be the hero of my own life, or whether that station will be held by anyone else, these pages must show. Answer is option 3, David Copperfield. Traces of the morality plays are discernible in a play like Dr. Faustus. Traces such as, answer is option 2, its soliloquizing protagonist, good and bad angels, and its final moral. The branch of philosophy that asks the question, how do we know what we know, is, answer is option 2, epistemology. The 18th century practice in England of bookselling was midway between direct patronage and impersonal sales. A patron paid half the cost of a book before publication and half on delivery. The author of the book received these payments directly. The patron's name appeared in the preface for the book published in this manner. This practice was known as dash. Answer is option 1, subscription. Oxford India has published a volume of Premchand translations in English. The Oxford India Premchand, who among the following is not one of the translators? Answer is option 3, Gillian Wright. Thank you for watching this video. If you like the video, please share and subscribe.